Shalom. This is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Swinging Torah. Okay, so we're heading into Pesach. We're heading into Passover. So one of my favorite songs we used to sing. So after the Seder, there's a couple songs that are in the Haggadah. And one of my favorite songs as a kid, I always loved to sing is Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. The Zabin Abba Bisrei Zuze, Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. So the song starts off. It's like a kid goat, one kid goat, one kid goat, that my father bought for 2 zuzim, for 2 zuz. It was an ancient coin. And then it goes, Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya, a kid goat, a kid goat. And then the song goes on, and it's like, V'yasa shunra v'yakla Gadya, and along comes a cat, and the cat eats the kid goat. And then the dog bites the cat, and it goes on and on. And we'll go through all the iterations of the song. So the Vilna Gaon, in his Haggadah, I'm using his Haggadah, and he has an amazing mystical meaning of this song. There's deep meaning, deep Kabbalah, deep meaning of the whole history and the future of the Jewish people in this song. So, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to take this wondrous journey through the Vilna Gaon's mystical meaning of the song Chad Gadya. So the song finishes, so just get through the whole finish of the song where everything comes. So at the very last part of the song is V'asa HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Holy One, blessed be He comes. V'shachat l'malach hamaves, and he kills the malach hamaves, the angel of death. D'shatad l'shochet, who shechted the butcher, the shechter. D'shachad l'sora, who shechted the ox. D'shasa l'maya, who drank the water. D'chavad l'nura, who extinguished the fire. D'saraf l'chutra, that burned the stick. D'chika l'chalba, that hit the dog. D'nashak l'shunra, that bit the cat. D'achla l'gadya, who ate the little kid goat. D'zabin abba bisrei zuze, chad gadya, chad gadya. So we're going to go through all the parts of the song, and we're going to go through the Vilna Gaon's mystical meaning of each of the separate parts of the song, and who all these players are. Who's the cat? Who's the dog? Who's the stick? Who's the fire? Who's the water? Who's it all? Okay. So he begins and he says something, and he's going to give an explanation of Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. So there's 2 kid goats. So what does that mean? So he says this is a klal gadol etzleinu. This is a great rule by us. He says that all of the good that has been done and will be done. So between olam hazeh, between this world, and olam haba, in the world to come, and all of this that we inherit from our fathers. At the time that Yitzhak blessed Yaakov. So when was this blessing? When did Yitzhak? Rivka, Rebecca, the wife of Yitzhak and the mother of Yaakov and Esav, that she cooked these 2 kid goats and gave it to Yaakov, and then Yaakov, puts the wool on his hands to appear like Esav, and he comes in and he gets the bracha, he gets the blessing from his father. So these are the 2 kid goats, and when did this happen? It happened at the time of Pesach, at the time of Passover, this all happened. So that the brachos would have been lost to us, if not for the actions of Yaakov and Rivka. So that all of this was supposed to go to Esav. So and then the cause of all the brachos, the blessings went to Yaakov, the cause of it was these 2 kid goats. So it says in Pirkei de Rebbe Eliezer that all this machlo of Yitzhak, all he ate was these 2 kid goats, and one of them was for the Korban Pesach. One was for the Pesach offering, the Passover offering, and one was for the Korban Chagiga, the festival offering. We have these in the regal during Passover, during Pesach, when we have a temple. So Yaakov brought these to Yitzhak, and then these were the 2 korbanos. And our rabbis, Rabboseinu Darshu, they darshan in Vayikra Rabbah, in the Midrash, they say, take to yourself 2 of these kid goats, 2 good kid goats. Tov for you, good for you, and good for your children. So good for you, good for Yaakov, Jacob, in the sense that he inherited the brachos. And it's good for the children because that we merit that we get to bring 2 goats, 2 seirim, l'chaper alehem, that we bring these 2 goats on Yom Kippur in the Beis HaMikdash when we have a temple. Bezrat Hashem, it should be soon that we have the 3rd temple. And this gives us kapara. Bringing these 2 goats on Yom Kippur brings us kapara. And one of the goats is brought to Hashem, and the other goat is brought to Azazel, who's a malach, and that is the malach of the Yetzer Hara, of evil, the Satan, and that goat is pushed off a cliff on Yom Kippur, and the other is offered in the Beis HaMikdash. So it appears that all of this was hanging on the fact that the goats of Yom Kippur, that one is brought to L'chaper, to bring us atonement, and one is brought to appease the Satan that he won't prosecute on Yom Kippur. And these are the two goats. So the two little kid goats relates to the two goats that we bring in the Beis HaMikdash, that we bring in the temple on Yom Kippur. So it's known that the brachos were given over to Yaakov Avinu, to Jacob our father, and then Jacob gave it to his sons, and he gave it to Yosef. And then all the brachos and the bechora and the status of the firstborn that he bought from Esav was given over to Yosef. And then Yaakov blessed all his sons. He blessed all the Shvatim, all the tribes. But it only uses the language of bracha. When he blesses the rest of the tribes, it's only less lashon of bracha, the language of blessing. But with Yosef, it says brachos avicha, that you were blessed, from your father with blessings. And then this is this was on the head of Yosef, and it's known that the Shvatim, this caused the rest of the tribes to have a great jealousy between them over Joseph. And then they sold Yosef to Mitzrayim, to Egypt, in order that it would nullify all the brachas, all the blessings, all the brachos that were given to Yosef. The brothers wanted to nullify it. And in the series of events, it led to all our fathers going down to Mitzrayim. This led to the gullus of Mitzrayim. This caused us all to be exiled in Egypt. And it's written in Shmos, it says, V'es hamata hazeh tikach b'yacha asher tasa bo es ha'osos. That you will take this staff in your hands, and then that will be made for you into signs. So then it's explained that because of the mateh, because of the staff, and because the anei kavod, the clouds of glory, and all of the good that was done in the Beis HaMikdash, this is called on the staff. And we're going to go into what this staff is. So it's made in the days of Moshe that this was the merit of the staff. And Moshe, he gave the staff, and the staff, it's portrayed in the movies that Moshe's staff is made in wood. Like in the movies, they portray the luchos, the stone tablets that the Ten Commandments were written on. They portray them as like these just primitive nothing stones. But the truth is the luchos were on sapphire tablets, and then Hashem carved on the original ones the letters in, and then Moshe, and I think Moshe carved a second set of tablets, but Hashem carved the letters in again. And then the staff that Moshe had was not some just wooden, basic wooden stick. It was actually the golden scepter, and it's a golden scepter of rulership. So Moshe, there's an interesting midrash that it was in Yisro's garden. Yisro was an advisor to Paro, and Paro had, through the series of events, had gotten the staff. And then it was taken by Yisro when he left Paro's palace. He was one of the advisors. He was an advisor for Pharaoh, and he left the palace. And the staff was in the ground, and it's much like, L'chavdil, the sword and the stone of King Arthur, but no one could pull out this golden scepter, and had jewels all over it, and it had, I think, the name of Hashem, one of the names of Hashem written on it, and had the first letter of all the Makos written on it, and it's a mystical staff, and one day this staff, it's a staff of kingship. So Moses was the only one that could pull this from the ground, and it showed that he was the true leader of the Jewish people. Maybe that's how that myth of King Arthur started, with the sword and the stone. And then later one day, B'ezrat Hashem, we will see this staff, and it may start with Mashiach ben Yosef will get the staff, and then it'll be passed on, I would assume, to Mashiach ben David, or maybe only Mashiach ben David will get the staff. But David HaMelech and Shlomo, they had the staff, and this is a scepter of royalty. It's a king's staff. It's a scepter. So this is the mateh. This is the staff that the song is talking about. So Moshe merited the staff, and then he passed it on to Yeshua, who became the leader after Moshe. And then this is a hint. The Baal Haggadah, the person who's anonymous, who we don't know who wrote the Haggadah, that he says that this in this Galgel, like the events, kept rolling along, and this is the coming into Egypt, and it was the merit of us being redeemed, that this was from the beginning until the end. And it says Chad Gadya. So the merit of these two kid goats that Yaakov brought to his father Yitzhak, this was the merit that we had to be redeemed from Mitzrayim. And then when we were in Egypt, we brought the Korban Pesach, we shechted it, we put the blood on our doors, and that led to the merit of getting out of Egypt. So then comes the cat. Okay, so who's the cat? So the cat, according to the Vilna Gaon, he says the cat is... the cat represents, the nature of a cat is to be jealous. We say curiosity killed the cat, but cats are also jealous. So this was the jealousy of the other tribes of Yosef. So when it says, so first we say we have the two kid goats, and then a cat comes, and he eats the goats. So what eats up the goats? What eats up the merit of these two little kid goats that Yaakov gave, to Yitzhak? Yitzhak blessed Yaakov, and then Yaakov passed the blessings on the Yosef. The jealousy of the brothers, they ate this up. They ate up the merit of those two kid goats. So then the next thing happens, the dog comes. The dog comes and he bites the cat. So who's the dog? So the dog, according to the Vilna Gaon, is Paro, is the Pharaoh. And it says in the Midrash in Shmos Rabbah that Moshe struck Paro like a dog. Meaning when, Hashem, we talk about this golden scepter that Moshe had, and these were brought, to start the plagues. When Hashem waited for Moshe, and sometimes Aaron struck the water, struck the ground, and Moshe did other things with the staff. It was raised over the Yam Suf for the parting of the Red Sea. So through this staff, Hashem brings it. Like he let Moshe and Aaron be a partner in these miracles in the 10 plagues of Egypt. And through this staff, this was brought on. So it says in Shmos Rabbah that Moshe, with the staff, he struck Paro like the dog. So it shows us that Paro is compared to the dog. So the dog, because of the jealousy of the brothers, now we're bitten. Now we're bitten by the Pharaoh, and we're put into slavery. So next comes the stick, and he hits the dog. The stick hits the dog, and it's this golden scepter we're talking about. So this is the makeh, this is the mateh, the staff that strikes Paro. And we see through the Eser Makos, the 10 plagues, which Hashem gets Moshe and Aaron to bring on Egypt. Then Pharaoh and all of Egypt are struck with this staff, the scepter of leadership, the scepter of royalty. And then the fire comes, and it burns up the staff. Let's see, it burns the stick. So the stick is our merit. The stick is our, Hashem taking us out of Egypt. But now, who's this fire that's burning up the staff? And that's the Yetzer Hara. And that's our weakness. And the Yetzer Hara is the evil impulse, and that burns up the stick. And the explanation is that the merit we had of the stick of striking Paro, Chas v'Sham, through the Yetzer Hara enticing us, seducing us to do Averas, to go against the Torah, to not do the mitzvos, to transgress the negative mitzvahs, Chas v'Sham, that uses up our merit, and that makes us vulnerable. And then we don't have the power over Egypt, and unfortunately then the nations of the world in our various gulluses, they have power over us. So then, that's burning up the staff. So then, and the staff is when we have merit and Hashem strikes our enemies down. And the Yetzer Hara that seduces us to do Averas, Chas v'Sham, that lowers our merit, and then we're vulnerable to the other nations. So then the water comes, and the water extinguishes the fire. So who's the Maya? The Knesset Yisrael, the assembly of Israel, the Jewish people. And where do we get our merit from? The Mayim. And the Torah is compared to Mayim. The Torah is compared to water. Now when we listen to the Torah, and we do the mitzvos, and we refine our midos, we refine our personal characteristics, then we have merit over the Yetzer Hara, and then it puts out the fire. And we put out the fire of the Yetzer Hara through the Mayim of the Torah. And it says, there's a pasuk in Shmuel, it says, Ki mos namus v'chamayim hanigarim arza. And it says, because death will come, and like water, it will flow out to the land. So when we're Chas v'Sham, we're doing Averos, then the water is flowing away. But when we're learning Torah and doing the mitzvos, then the water extinguishes the fire of the Yetzer Hara. Now then, who is extinguishing the fire? So the Vilna Gaon says that the fire is the Yetzer Hara. And then the Baal Haggadah, the author of the Haggadah, he says that the Bnei Amnu, the children of our nation, Yisrael, we're compared to water. And then it says this at the end of the Taklis. This is the goal. The goal at the end of all of people, the goal of all history, is that the water will be water for the Yetzer Hara. Meaning that, like the Malach HaMaves, the angel of death, the Yetzer Hara, it's the same angel, that it's going to be burnt up like a Eish Tamid, like an eternal fire. And it won't flow anymore to the ground. The water won't flow away to the ground anymore. It will extinguish the fire of the Yetzer Hara, and then it will go out, and it will go out from the base Kodesh HaKadoshim like fire. So it's saying that B'ezras Hashem, one day, the Jewish people, when we're learning Torah, we're doing the mitzvahs, we're extinguishing the fire of the Yetzer Hara, and then the fire in the world is going to be the fire coming out from the third temple. Okay, so and then it says, and then the ox comes, and the ox drinks up the water. So the water was great. We were learning Torah, we were doing the mitzvahs, we were extinguishing the fire of the Yetzer Hara. But who's the ox that's drinking up our water? Who's drinking up our Torah and our mitzvahs? And that is Edom. And that is the nation of Rome that's descended from Esav. Remember, this all begins that Yaakov takes the 2 kid goats that his mom, Rebecca, cooked, and we get the brachas, we get the blessings instead of Esav. Well, Esav, wasn't just sitting down doing nothing for all of history, and he started the Roman Empire, and we're still in this Galus Edom. We're still in this Roman exile. It began in Rome, it began in Italy, but the philosophy and the empire of Rome spread all throughout the West. And you can say, in a sense, like we saw the powers of Europe, they at one time held the mantle, the scepter of Rome. And I would say now that the main power of Rome, the main power of the West, is the United States. So America is the final destination of the power of the Roman Empire. And we see the Pax Americana. You see the power of the American Empire throughout the world. So that lessens our mitzvos. Because we're distracted. We have all the movies, the baseball games, the football games, the streaming, Netflix, this, that, with so many distractions in America and in the West, and it dampens us. It starts to drink up our Torah and mitzvahs, and we see the loosening of how much the Jewish people are learning Torah, doing the mitzvahs. How knowledgeable we are anymore, Chas v'Shalom, of the Torah, and we've been so distracted in this Galus Edom, and that's drinking up the water. And who's the water? They're drinking up us. They're drinking up, Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish people itself, and Chas v'Shalom. We saw for 12 years in Europe the horrible destruction of the Holocaust when Amalek, the grandson of Esav, takes control. And that empire takes control, and it literally destroyed us, literally drank up the Jewish people itself in a horrible tragedy. And that's what happens, Chas v'Shalom, when we're loosening our hold of the Torah and the mitzvahs. So then comes the shochet, then comes the executioner, the shechter. So who's going to shecht the Roman Empire? So the Vilna Gaon says Mashiach ben Yosef, the first king, when Hashem returns kingship to the Jewish people, a descendant of Yosef. So we saw how Yaakov gave the blessings over to Yosef, and now Joseph's descendant, Mashiach ben Yosef, he is going to destroy the philosophy of the Roman Empire for good in the world. But then, and he shecks the Torah, he shecks the ox, and he kills the empire of Edom. He kills the philosophy of the empire of Edom, which is distracting people from Hashem. Distracting people from that there's one infinite being that's created everyone, that loves everyone, that runs the world, guides the world, and he's going to shecht the philosophy that they know that Hashem's not, the ruling the world, and the Torah is not the blueprint of creation. And then he'll bring clarity to the world. So then comes the Malach HaMavet, then comes the angel of death, the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, and we're unsure. There's a machlokas. Does the Malach HaMavet, does the Yetzer Hara kill Mashiach ben Yosef or not? But according to the Vilna Gaon here, and in the Vilna Gaon I've seen in other places say that Mashiach ben Yosef won't be killed, but here he's saying, in the song at least, that it's a remez, it's a hint that the Malach HaMavet will kill Mashiach ben Yosef. And then comes the Kadosh Baruch Hu himself, and in the second interpretation of this, it was Hashem comes with Mashiach ben David. And then he comes, and Hashem comes, and this is the head of everything again. This is Hashem, who is the original king, who will be the final king. He comes back to the head. And then immediately he gives power to the Yad Yisrael, to the Jewish people, and they return. All the brachos return to the Jewish people. And he strengthens, and then they strengthen their hands over the nations of the world. And they overturn the brachos that were lost to us. And in the end, everything is turned back over to us. And the brachas, may they quickly come in our days. And so we see that this all began with these 2 kid goats. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. But thanks to the Vilna Gaon, we see this really deep mystical meaning in this beautiful song. And so may Bezrat Hashem, when we see this coronavirus pass over the world, may we see Hashem remove this disease from the world, bring refuah shlema, healing to anyone that needs it. When we see the coming Mashiach, when we see a Geula this Pesach, and we sing this beautiful song after our Seder, and we see good things coming in the future that Chag Gadya speaks about. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah.